Hello everyone, welcome to Operation 4.0 GPA online tutorial. Today we are continuing our lessons on foreign exchange market and we want to learn an interesting concept today. Today we are going to learn how to use the multipliers and a fixed exchange rate regime to determine the effectiveness of a fiscal policy. So at the end of the day, we'll get to know how fiscal policy affects equilibrium output, how fiscal policy affects equilibrium interest rates, and how fiscal policy affects the domestic foreign exchange reserves in the economy. So first, we want to start deriving the equilibriums in the product market, the money market, and the balance of payment. Then we proceed from there. So we start with the product market. Now, in the product market, we all know that our Y, which is equilibrium output, is equal to our consumption plus our investment plus our export minus import plus government spending. That is the equilibrium in the product market. That is a pure open economy. Now, we in this instance, or under this topic that we are working with, we have to rewrite this whole equation in a different form. So our big Y will now become a small y. That is still output, which is equal to, now with our consumption, we know that consumption depends on income. So we represent our parameter, that is pi y. This implies that consumption depends on income, so the pi is our parameter. Now when it comes to investment, we know that investment is negatively related with interest rates, so it will give us negative. Let's represent the parameter by sigma r, that is negatively related with the interest rate. When it comes to the exports, now let's represent our parameter by rho. So export is dependent on terms of trade. Let's represent the terms of trade by the dollar sign minus domestic prices plus foreign prices. That is for exports. Minus our import. In here it is negative already, so our import, we have to represent it by a figure. Import depends on domestic income. So by representing it by a parameter, let's say our parameter is theta y, which is equal to government expenditure, which is autonomous or constant. Now that is the equilibrium that we've rewritten it. It is the same thing, but just that we have rewritten it in a different format. Now let's solve further and break it down. We have our y here, which is pi y minus sigma r plus our rho. Now in here, we will be left with only the dollar sign, that is the terms of trade, because the prices will be constant, so it will go away, minus our theta y plus g. So we're breaking it down. Now we have to group like terms, so we have to group the policy element at one side, and also we have to group the variables of interest at the other side. So now let's bring all variables of interest at the left hand side of the equation. We have y here, which is a variable of interest. We bring this y also. We bring this y also, making minus pi y plus theta y plus sigma r, which is equal to rho dollar sign plus government spending. Now we can see that we have a common element, which is y here, so we can factorize y out. You get 1 minus pi plus theta, it gives us y plus sigma r, which is equal to rho the dollar sign plus government spending. Now the last thing we should do is now we find the total derivative of this function. So what it presupposes about that is that you maintain the parameters, then we find the derivative of the variable of interest, which is y, r, dollar sign, and government. So we maintain our parameter here. We find the total dy plus sigma dr, which is equal to rho the dollar sign plus the government spending, giving us equation 1. So this is for the product market. Now we've worked for the product market under foreign fixed exchange rate regime. Now we have it. Now let's move to the money market, which is the LM. Now we know that money supply is equal to domestic reserve or domestic credit plus foreign exchange reserve. We also understand that money supply is equal to is equal to our transactional demand for money, which is dependent on income, minus our speculative demand for money, which is dependent on interest rates plus the domestic price level. Now we know that the price level is constant, so this one will be 0. Now at equilibrium, we will get domestic credit plus the foreign exchange reserve, which is equal to the transactional demand for money minus the speculative demand for money. In here, we also have to group variables of interest and the policy variables at one side. So variables of interest, domestic credit is a policy variable, so it will be at one side, which is equal to pi y. That is a variable of interest. Y is a variable of interest minus lambda r. R is a variable of interest minus domestic reserve of foreign exchange. Now, the last thing we have to do here is to find the total derivative of this equation. So it will give us big D, which is equal to pi dy minus lambda dr minus the big R, giving us equation 2. So that is for the LM. Now, the last thing we have to do is to also work out for the BOP curve. And that one too, when we start with, when the BOP is equal to 0, now when the BOP is equal to 0, what will happen is that our exports, our row dollar minus domestic price plus foreign prices minus pi y plus beta r minus r star. Now what this means is that rho into bracket dollar minus p plus p star is our export, as we already know. That is our import. So export and import giving us the current account, and beta into bracket domestic interest rate minus foreign interest rate giving us the capital account. So what this means is that when the balance of payment is equal to 0, the summation of the capital and the current account should also give us 0. That is the meaning. Now let's simplify this equation. Get our rho dollar sign minus pi y theta y plus beta r minus beta r star. Now we have to group variables of interest and the policy variables. So variables of interest, we have theta y here, theta y will come to the left. We have interest rate also here, beta r, which is equal to rho dollar sign minus beta r star. Now the last thing we will do is that we will differentiate total derivative of the equation. So we maintain our parameter dy minus beta dr, which is equal to rho the dollar sign minus beta dr star, giving us equation 3. So that is for the balance of payment curve. Now what we have to do is that we have to form a matrix with the 3 equations that we've gotten. We will cast them in a matrix form before we proceed with our solution. Now casting them in a matrix form, from equation 1 we have 1 minus pi. So casting the 3 equations into a matrix, from the first equation we have 1 minus pi plus theta here for dy. Then for interest rate for dr we have sigma. Then we don't have any r here, so it's 0. Now when it comes to the second equation, for dy we have pi. Now when it comes to dr we have negative lambda. When it comes to big dr we have negative 1. When it comes to the third equation we have theta minus beta 0. So we write our variables of interest here. So the first column represents dy. This implies that all these are the parameters of dy in the 3 equations that we have. The second column represents dr, that is interest rate, all the parameters for dr. And the third one represents the big R. These are variables of interest, which is equal to the policy variables. We have rho the dollar plus the G. We have the big D. We have rho the dollar minus beta the R star. So we have our equation A, X and B. We have now casted the three equations that we got in a matrix form. Now the next thing we have to do is that we find the determinant of matrix A. We have to find the determinants of matrix A, then we proceed from there. Now finding the determinants of matrix A, that is how it will be. That A is the determinant of matrix A. What we have to do is that we want column 1 variable here, which is 1 minus pi plus theta. Then we clear the column that this element belongs to, the row that this element belongs to. We'll be left with sigma 0, negative lambda, sigma negative 1, negative. So now when we clear the column that this parameter belongs to and the row, we'll be left with negative lambda, negative 1, negative beta 0. We are done with this figure. Then we come to minus sigma. We clear the column sigma belongs to, we clear the row. We'll be left with pi theta negative 1 0. Then we have the last element to be 0. So definitely whatever we multiply with it will be 0. So there's no need for us to write it. Now we start with here. We have our minus 1 minus pi plus theta. Now, finding the determinant of a 2 by 2 matrix, we multiply the principal diagonal, that is negative lambda times 0 to give us 0, minus the off principal diagonal, the multiplication of the off principal. So minus beta plus times minus 1 will give us beta. So giving us minus beta. This is what we had, minus sigma. Now, the principal diagonal will give us 0. Pi, 0 times pi, 0. Then off principal diagonal will give us negative figure. So at the end of the day, we have a positive figure. Now, finally, our determinant will be minus beta into bracket 1 minus pi plus theta minus sigma theta. So that is our determinant, and it is less than 0 because we have a negative figure. All of this is negative. That is why it is less than 0. So our determinant for matrix A is negative. That is less than 0. Now we start with the rare issues. We have 3 variables of interest. That is Y, interest rate, and total reserves of foreign exchange in the economy. So we start with Y, our output, how a fiscal policy affects Y. Now, in dealing with that, we have to form a new matrix using the Kramer's rule. Now, in using the Kramer's rule, we have to find a new matrix. So the idea is that how does a fiscal policy change the output? So in here, the only fiscal policy variable we have is government spending, so the G. So it implies that what we want to see or what we want to do will come up, the variable of interest, the Y, divided by the policy. So we form a new matrix. Now, in forming a new matrix, what we have to do is that we will clear the first column, because the variable of interest here is the Y, and the Y has its parameters being the first column. So we clear the first column, which belongs to the Y, and replace it with all what we have at matrix B. We replace it with everything here. So we will get rho the dollar plus the G, the big D, so we clear the first column which belongs to the Y and replace it with what we have here, that is a policy variables. Now we have to find the derivative of the first column that we replace with respect to the G, because we are finding everything, the effect of the G on what we have here. So we will get a new matrix which will give us here, with the first row, first column, we have the G, so it will give us 1, 0, 0, sigma, negative lambda, negative beta, 0, negative 1, 0, all divided by our general determinant of the matrix. Now we've gotten a new matrix up there. Using the Kramer's rule, we have to find the determinant of this matrix divided by our old determinant, or the determinant of the general matrix. So in finding the determinant of the new matrix that we got, and this is what we will get. So in finding the determinant, as we know, we take the first element, that is the first column, first row item, that is 1. We clear the column in the row that it belongs to. We'll be left with minus lambda, minus 1, minus beta 0. Then we have negative sigma. We clear the column in the row. We have 0, minus 1, 0, 0. Then the last item, which is 0. There is no need for us to write the 2 by 2 matrix because automatically we get 0. Now let's start working from here. We multiply our principal diagonal to be 0. Negative beta times negative 1 will give us beta minus, so negative beta, because this one is positive. We have to subtract it from the principal diagonal. This one will give us minus sigma. We have 0, 0. So already this is 0 times 0. So there's no need for us to write. It will be 0. All divided by our general determinant. Now, what we should know is that the determinant of the whole matrix that we found earlier was negative. And we've gotten a numerator which is also negative. So the negatives will cancel each other, giving us a positive figure. So what this means is that fiscal policy is effective on output. When we have a positive figure, it means that the fiscal policy is effective. So this policy is effective in changing output. When there is increase in government spending, or when fiscal policy changes in the positive direction, output also change in the positive direction, and vice versa. So we solve for one, we have to also solve for interest rate, which is another variable of interest, and the domestic reserves. Now the second one is we tackle the interest rates. So we will have dr over dg, that is the fiscal policy, and the interest rate. Now what we should know is that, as we did earlier, this time around we will not clear the first column, because the first column is not what we are working under. We are working under dr dg. So dr parameters are the second column. So we clear the second column and replace it with the policy variables that we have here, maintaining the other column, the first and the last column. So what the new matrix will give us is 1 minus pi plus theta pi theta. Then instead of sigma, we will replace it with rho the dollar sign plus the g. Instead of negative lambda, we replace it with d, big D. Instead of minus beta, we replace it with rho the dollar sign minus beta the r star. Then we bring our last column here, giving us the new matrix, all divided by our determinant. Now the next thing we will do is that we will find the derivative, this new column that we've inserted. We will differentiate it with respect to the g, so that any g element here will go away. Now this is what we will get: 1 minus pi plus theta pi theta. Now the second column, we have g here, rho the dollar sign plus the g. So the g divided by the g will give us 1, 0, 0, because there is no g here, there is no g here. Then we bring our last column. So using Kramer's rule, as we did earlier, we also have to find the determinant of this new matrix we have as a numerator. Now in finding the determinant, we go through the same process that we did as simple. So with the determinant, we take the first parameter, or the element that we have, we clear the column, we clear the row, we'll be left with 0, negative 1, 0, 0. Then we take this one too. We'll be left with, we clear this column, we clear this column, we'll be left with pi theta negative 1, 0. Then since this is 0, there's no need for us to write the variable, because at the end of the day we'll get 0. So this is what we get for here. This one will give us 0, because when you multiply it will be, so we'll be left with this negative 1 into brackets, the principal diagonal, pi times 0 will give us 0. Now the off principal diagonal, theta times negative 1 will give us negative theta. And we have to subtract it, so it will be positive theta, all divided by our old determinant. So at the end of the day, we will have negative theta over our determinant. Now we know that our determinant was negative, so numerator being negative, denominator being negative will give us a positive figure. So we can also conclude that fiscal policy is also effective in changing with interest rate. That means a change in fiscal policy will affect interest rate positively. Depending on the change, when it increases, interest rate will increase. When it decreases, interest rate will decrease. That is what our new determinant we got means. Now the last thing is that we have to find the big R. That is a foreign exchange reserve that we have. So we solve for the Y, the R, and we are left with the big R. So we go through the same process as we did using the Kramer's rule. Now let's start with it and see. So our last thing, the third thing, is for us to know, find the R over the G, which is the fiscal policy. Now, as we have done earlier, you clear the third column, which belongs to the R, because our interest here is the R. So we maintain the first one, sigma. Instead of 0, you replace it with D plus the G by negative lambda. Then instead of negative 1, you replace it with the big D, theta, negative beta. Instead of 0, you replace it with D, rho d dollar minus beta dr star, all divided by our determinant. So the next thing we have to do is also differentiate the new column that we've inserted with respect to the gene here. We differentiate this with respect to the gene, maintaining the other columns that we have. So what we will get is this. We have 1 minus pi plus theta sigma 1. We also have pi theta negative lambda negative beta 0 0, all divided by the determinant that we got earlier on. So the next thing is that you also find the determinant of the new matrix, our numerator, since we are using Kramer's rule. So by finding our determinant of the numerator or the new matrix, the normal process, pi plus theta, then we clear the column and the row it belongs to, we be left with minus lambda 0 minus beta 0. Then we take our also take our sigma, that is the second element we have in the first row, minus sigma. We clear the column in the row sigma belongs to, we be left with t pi 0 theta 0. Then we are left with the last element in the first row, which is 1. So we have our 1, let's bring it down. We have our 1, we clear the row and the column 1 belongs to, you'll be left with pi minus lambda theta minus beta. Now we have to find the determinant. Work out this. We know that the first one will give us 0. The first 2 by 2 matrix will give us 0 because using the principal diagonal, negative lambda times 0 is 0, negative beta times 0 is 0. So the whole of this is 0. Now with the second one also, pi times 0 is 0. This time this is 0. So the whole of these two will give us 0. Now the third one will give us, we multiply the principal diagonal, which will give us minus beta pi. We subtract the off principal diagonal, the product of the off principal diagonal from it, which will give us plus theta lambda, all divided by our old determinant that we know. So in here, we can't determine the sign, whether it will be greater than or less than, because the numerator has different signs. The signs are alternative, we have negative and positive. So it will be effective if the numerator is negative. So if the numerator becomes negative, that means the negative of the numerator will cancel the negative of the denominator. So unless the negative here, that is beta pi, is greater than this figure, then we get a negative where the policy will become effective. Now on the other hand, if the positive figure, that is pi lambda, becomes greater than the negative here, that means our numerator will be positive, and for that matter, you have a negative answer, giving us an ineffective policy. So this one, what you can say about this is that the policy depends on the slope of the balance of payment curve, or the degree of capital mobility will also determine how effective the policy will be. So this brings us to the end of today's tutorial about fixed exchange rate regime using the multipliers to determine the effectiveness of fiscal policy. Now just relax, go through what we have done well, and you get a concept. If there is anything that you don't get it well, if there is anything bothering your mind, just go to the comment section and comment, give us your question or any clarification, just ask, or email us operation4.0gpa@gmail.com and we will attend to you, or call the number on the screen and we will attend to you. God bless you. See you another time. Bye. But one thing is that don't forget to subscribe and share the link to your colleagues for them to also enjoy from this tutorial. Thank you. Watch out for our next video. Bye bye.